Hello and welcome to the Double Your Freelancing podcast. I'm your host, Zach Swinehart, and today I'm here with Virginie talking about how she has grown her business, niched down, moved towards productization, and booked. Are you up to how many clients? 10 clients with this new strategy? How many out now?
Yes, 10.
And when did that start to take off? So I can give a nice, sexy hook there.
It started to take off in July.
Okay, cool.
2025. Yeah.
So in the past 4 months or whatever,
Yes.
10 new clients. And did we say we were going to talk about the LTV? I can't remember.
Yes.
Cool. So 10 new clients, it'll be, I think it was around 40, 50 grand in lifetime value, something like that.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. So that's the sexy hook, not very sexily delivered, but nonetheless, we're talking about that today and her journey getting here, what her big milestones have been, what she's working on next. We're going to talk a bit about focus and ADHD and shiny object syndrome. I'm sure that's going to come up. We'll see what else comes up. So, Virginie, great to have you here. I'm going to go into my little notes and we can get going. So probably for me, I have it down that I want to set the stage with where I have been really impressed. So we checked, dear podcast listener, we checked, and Virginie first did a consulting call with me on April 15th, 2024. Today is October 9th, 2025. So it's a year and a half ago. And I feel like for that first call, Virginie, you came to me wanting to make an offer page on your website for some productized service or something. Do you remember what that service even was and what the scope was compared to what you're doing now? Is it the same?
So what I remember is that I wanted to know first if I needed to niche down or not. And I wanted to know which offers I should offer. So do I talk now about my niche or?
Sure. It's a fine time to start.
So I was wondering if I should niche down for gyms because my wife is a CrossFit coach and I'm doing CrossFit since for 11 years now. So I know exactly how it is. I already have clients who have CrossFit gyms. So I did websites for them and ads. And so I was wondering if I should niche down to this niche. And also which offer to put first, like the ads, the website, automations, funnels, things like that, email marketing and things like that. So that's why I contacted you first.
And then as I recall, I basically squished all of the things you wanted to do, like creating a sales page and committing to a niche and stuff, and was saying well, let's see what you can generate leads in. And then once it's validated, then you can make your sales page. Is that kind of how it went? I don't really remember how it closed down from those.
Yeah, pretty much. You told me to validate the niche and to make sure I could have the results to show for, and then to go for it. Yeah.
Cool. So from there, you ended up being in the very first private beta cohort for 200K Freelancer that kicked off in July of 2024. And you've been steadily chipping away at it ever since.
Yeah.
And what's been cool about watching your journey is that it's I remember back to that first call where it was you wanted to create the product page. And every freelancer wants to do that first because it feels fun and kind of safe and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember squashing it. But what's really cool is that now I go on your website and you have that page and you have the niche alignment, you have all these cool things, but you have them in what I would call not necessarily the right way, but the safer way, which is that you have these things after having validated the niche with, in your case, cold email and stuff like that. So that to me has been really cool. It's been really great seeing you go down this road. And I imagine for you, if you imagine having committed to that niche without generating leads in it first, at least for me, it would feel kind of scary. Who knows if it's going to actually work out or something. Mm-hmm. And presumably now it doesn't feel that way, but I'm not sure. I don't want to put words in your mouth. How do you feel about the approach you've taken now versus what you might have done had you not gone the lead gen validation route first?
When you say lead gen validation first, what do you mean exactly? Do you mean what we do with 200K
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for me, I see it because in your process in 200 KF, we have to take like kind of the leap of faith a little bit in the niche that we want to do, but it's very controlled, I would say, because you give us so many variables that we need to think about and everything. So this is you never know for sure it's going to work before you do it, but you have clues that it's going to work. So, and clues because you guide us really well into that to know, okay, so these are all the parameters we are looking for and everything that we need to choose the niche. And then, I felt comfortable with the niche, but I didn't know for sure it's going to work until I did the campaigns. So you have to trust a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's always the case.
Yeah.
So for people listening who aren't in the program, the way that we do it is that basically you first kind of theorize a niche and an offer and a problem you'll solve and that kind of thing. And then you run marketing, which we like cold email, as long as it's value forward cold email that's not spammy. And you kind of validate interest in this concept. And then once you validate a little bit of interest, you can align your whole brand with it and get the ball rolling. Versus what past Zach had done and a lot of freelancers done, which is that you decide on a niche, change your whole website to be aligned with that niche, and then try to generate leads, and then you can't. And now you're like, well, shit, I should probably have changed my whole brand to be aligned with this niche that I can't get clients in. So I think that there's no way around that slight leap of faith. Like you're never going to know until you do it.
Exactly.
And I think that's why it's so important to kind of hedge a little bit, such that if it doesn't work, the process of trying a different niche doesn't mean you have to like unravel all this crap you built on top of this decision. But you mentioned that you had some clues it would work. I'm curious what those were for you.
First, because this is a niche that I know very well. So that's the first thing. I've already worked with that niche. I already gotten results for them. So for me, that was a big thing. It's easy for me. It's like I don't have to search so many things because I know the niche inside out. So I think that's the clue, and that's the one that felt the most natural to me. So yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna go check my Client Forge scoring algorithm.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember how it works. So for those of you who aren't into KF, I built this SaaS tool for students called Client Forge to replace some of my Notion helpers. And in it, I have a niche scoring algorithm where I weighted different criteria differently. So I'm looking at it now. I'll just share my screen for people to be less bored. So the way that I weighted it was with the business pains and goals knowledge, weighted at double the value of the relationship level and interest level. So in other words, if you know them really well, but you hate them and you don't have any experience with it, you would get 50%. If you know their pains and goals and you have clients, you'd get 75%, etc. So in your case, what was your score? I imagine it was probably like 90%, something like this, like 10, 16, 10.
I think it was 100, something
Really nice.
like that. Yeah.
Having gone as far as you have, do you feel the algorithm as it is fair? Like, do you feel that this business pains and goals knowledge is worth double the others? Like if you were to make the algorithm based on your experience, how would you weight the different things?
Yeah, I think that's really, the business pains and goals is very important. And it's, can you see relationship level? What's past clients and things like that. Okay. So yeah, I think the business pains and goals is very important. And it's not only pains and goals, but also knowing the business itself, but that goes with it, I think.
Like the day-to-day, what it's like to run it kind of thing?
Exactly. Because our clients say it's really important for us that you know exactly what to say for it, what to say, especially that we build websites, so or campaigns and things like that. So we need to be sure about the copywriting and everything. So that's a huge thing for in what we offer. So
nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's great. Let me stop the share. All right. So to wrap this first little intro section, I mentioned being impressed by just seeing how she's gone through all of these steps of like niching methodically and stuff. But Virginia, I gotta say, one of the most impressive things that you've done from my perspective, knowing you like I do, is just freaking sticking with it. Because I think there were a few points. There was once you sent me a text that was like, hey man, if I didn't know you so well and I didn't like you, I would have totally churned out by now. And it's because of this challenging thing, which for the record, I'm improving that part. That's going to be automated by the lead tables SaaS. Because I think it was the list finalization that was the hardest for you. Is that when you sent me that message?
Oh, yeah.
And that, it was really satisfying. As a side note, I was going through the SOP for list finalization yesterday while I was testing some of my new updates for lead tables. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be able to just delete 90% of this. Because now it's just like cool. You click a button and it's done, which is really cool.
Wow. Yeah.
But I digress. I've been really impressed that you have stuck with it and you've wanted to pursue a shiny object. You've wanted to keep those ADHD novelty hits going, but you haven't. And that's amazing. And I would imagine if you were to look back at your past growth point, more than the marketing stuff and the client generation stuff, I'm guessing, again, don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm guessing that's what you'd see as your biggest growth point. But I'm curious what you'd say. Like, where do you think you've grown the most as a business person or as maybe just an individual human? I don't know.
So yeah, for me, really, because it's been years that I started my business, and I think at the beginning it's normal that you don't really know what you do. I love to learn, so I buy courses. I do so many things like that, and so I love to learn new things, to test new things, to do all of this, and this is very satisfying for me to do. But at the same time, it doesn't give me the steady business I want, the results that I want, because I have the type of clients that I want to how to say it. I don't want to rely on only one big client. I don't want to rely on two big clients or something like that. I want to be able to generate new clients by myself. And the thing that we've done together is really to focus on this niche, on this process, on one offer. And that's really what is important for me, and that it's difficult because at first it's still exciting because it's a new thing, but when the months go by, it starts to become boring, and we have to say it. So, but the results are here to say it's worth it. But I think it's important also to understand that if we want a lot of new shiny things and new things like that, I don't think it's the recipe for the business that I have in mind anyway. So this is the cost to pay, I would say. And I'm sure that after, because this is still new, like I've started the campaign in July, so it's been a few months. But actually earlier, but we'll talk about this later. But it's still new. And I think this is kind of the moment where it's the toughest, because this is where my mind wants to go everywhere. And I have to keep reminding me, no, you stick to this, you stay there, you stay there, you stay there. So this is not the fun part, but I guess that after you've passed a point, things can become interesting in a new way. So I'm not there yet, but I guess this is what's going to happen.
That's what I was going to submit. So I thought about this a lot with my ADHD. We both have ADHD. Are you medicated for your ADHD? I don't remember. No. Wow. Okay. So kudos to you being a manager. I need my stimulants. I have a hard freaking life without my stimulants. So I've come to kind of try to get excited when work gets boring, because it means that it's actually stable. Things are most interesting when I've at least noticed about myself. I'm curious how it goes for you. I've noticed that when I'm most interested is when I'm figuring out the framework. So with like lead tables code or whatever, It's fun to design the back-end architecture, like how the database schema is going to work, how the front's going to interact with it. But then taking that and carrying it forward to like building the UI and squashing the bugs, like, no, not interested. That's all boring. Hate it. And unfortunately, that's like 90% of the process. And same deal with business, like figuring out how to get a funnel working or figuring out how to get your first leads from ads or whatever. That's like fun, exciting, novelty. But as you know, with ads experience, most of being successful with ads is just iterating and getting these like tiny micro wins over a long period of time and then maintaining them or whatever. And I feel like that's the case with business too. Like it's always a grind, and the time it takes to build something of value is always longer than my attention span or interest in it will be. And it's cool being in that hyper-focused mode. And it's very dopamine high being in that mode. But alas, nothing of value could ever be built solely in that mode. But I do believe that the way that neurodivergent folks, or at least ADHDers, can keep things interesting long-term, and this is speaking from experience, having pivoted out of a freelance business into this product-based business and then finding that novelty is worn off, I'm still in the grind here. Like there's always this grind. Changing the focus. So like with my freelance business, I got bored because I was just doing kind of the same work for the same sorts of clients. And I had tried to scale, didn't really like the experience of owning an agency, never dialed in lead gen. So I just felt kind of powerless. And so I kind of hit the ceiling of this structure I created for myself. And that's when it got boring. And so I think making sure that you always move the goalpost to something interesting to stay challenged and stimulated. To me, I feel like that's the secret for an ADHD business owner. So it's like once you, I mean, at this point, you've gotten 10 clients in this new productized service. So I don't know how many of these 10 you've fully fulfilled yet. How many of you like totally finished and it's in maintenance mode, or how many are you still working on, that kind of thing?
7.
Okay. And obviously you've been doing this kind of work for a while. So from having done these 7, how much variability in the fulfillment are you seeing? Like, does it feel boring and like you're just kind of copying and pasting and tweaking a couple of things? Does it feel like everyone's still different? Are they exciting and fun to do? Like obviously you love doing them to help your clients. So if a client's listening, she loves making these websites. But in terms of the ADHD component, are you feeling that the work fulfillment itself is still fun, exciting, or is it just kind of feeling like work now?
It starts to feel like work.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so at that state, what I would say is that the way to kind of keep the novelty there while not burning down your business and switching to greener grass, at least my belief, I could be wrong, is you add a new layer of challenge, which is like, okay, how can I create SOPs or automations that chain agentic AI to offload parts of this process? Like how can I build the system that builds the product or whatever? And then building that system is your next challenge. And that will be hard because getting a system or another human to do a good job is very hard. So I feel like that's to me, that's the way I'm trying to think about businesses. It's like maintain the novelty because I need it in order to stay engaged, but do that in a way where I don't like backtrack and lose all of this hard won progress. But I really went on a rabbit hole there. I didn't mean to speak so much.
Yeah, no, it's true. And this is kind of what I've tried to do, like in a natural way. I didn't even really think about it, but I'm always trying to think about the processes that we can put in place, because the great thing is that we have the same types of clients, so we can make things automated and we can automate the most parts of the tasks that are the same to make us like save some time and everything. So that's a cool part that I like, to try to refine this, to make this more time saving, and the idea of having things doing themselves, I think that's really great. And yes, so I think, like you said, maybe, and I will tell you in a few months and a year or so, but maybe the thing is to keep things interesting inside the perimeter of what we've decided to focus on. So that's, I think that's where it lies.
Yeah, I think that's a very nice, succinct way of saying what took me 10 minutes to say. Keeping things interesting within the parameters of the focus. That's great. It's cool.
Yeah.
And so would you say, because I went on a little derailed thing, would you say that this focus, despite the lack of novelty, has been your biggest growth point? Or what do you think when you look back this past year or so, what do you think has been your biggest growing point as a business owner or freelancer or whatever?
Yeah, I think that's deciding something, sticking to it. Because the thing is that when you switch things, you never decide consciously. It's because you question things a lot. I question things a lot. I know, and I think that's a very great thing, but at the same time, it's very, it can be the worst thing in my, in the way I am as a business owner, which is that I know I don't know everything, and I'm always questioning things. So when I decide on something, then I hear something else, I learn something new, and I'm like, oh shit, maybe this is not the thing that I needed to do. Maybe I need to change this. Maybe it's not the right path. So it's never consciously thinking, oh, I need a new dopamine hit. That's not the thing. And it's always hiding behind, maybe I'm not on the right path. Okay, maybe I should do this to improve, or because I always want to improve things. So it's always improving. And so it's where I grew the most, I think, is when now I have this idea. I still have these thoughts, but I achieve to see them and say, okay, this is the old thing that I've done again and again and again. Now you need to go back to what is there, and this is a good thing, even if right now you have some doubts, and trust that this is the good path. And this is difficult to do because your mind is going to find so many things that maybe that's not the right thing to do, or maybe I didn't do this right, I should change something, or all this kind of stuff. And something that really helped me in that is meditation, because meditation is basically always going back to one object of focus. So when you see your thoughts going everywhere, you're just like, okay, no, go back to this. And that's really helped me also.
Wow, that's awesome. And I definitely resonate with what you're saying. I feel like one of the riskiest kind of belief system thought thingies I can hear myself say is like, I tried that and it didn't work. Because I feel like past me especially had this habit where I'd take one crack at something, I'd launch a couple of Facebook ads, maybe a few A/B test variants, and didn't have a good CPC. I was like, no, I tried Facebook ads. Facebook ads don't work. And be on the lookout for these other marketing strategies. But what I've kind of come to see through like clients who are successful and stuff like that is that sometimes, yeah, people do succeed on their first go, but most times they don't. And the one way to guarantee success is just do the same fucking thing for 10 years. If you can just do the same fucking thing and keep trying to listen to feedback and grow, you will be eventually successful. But of course, you talk about the doubts and stuff. This is one of my biggest struggles is it's like they say, you're supposed to be listening to feedback and growing and iterating. But I tend to struggle because I listen to too much feedback. And this is one of the things with 200KF that's kind of hard too, is like, this iterative validation process around a niche and an offer and stuff is like, if you send 1,000 cold emails around a hook and you don't get very good responses, does that mean the niche sucks? Does that mean the hook sucks? Does that mean the offer sucks? Or does it mean you just positioned it wrong? So like knowing when feedback should be listened to, like if someone says, oh, this thing is too hard in your course, does that mean I should change it? Am I ignoring feedback if I don't? Or does it mean that I shouldn't listen? Like, anyway, that's where I struggle.
Yeah.
And so finding that way to like stay focused, but still iterate, I don't know. It's a tough challenge. I'm curious what has come up for you in your pursuit there, like knowing when to pivot, knowing when to stay strong, that kind of thing.
I think that, I think that's really the challenge. And that's the decision making of, do I need to change something, or is it again something that is going to distract me, and saying me that I need to stay focused. So I think that the results, maybe for me in my niche, in everything that we could see, because sometimes I say to my wife, hey, because she joined me in the company, and now she works with me because she does SEO. And so I say, hey, maybe we should do this, and this. And she's always like, no, we change nothing. We change nothing. We do this.
That's good. That's good that you have
because we have the results. And I think that as long as we have results, that's what we're doing is working. Because, for example, I wanted to find a way to stop doing video audits because it's boring to do. It's like, it's a lot of work. And she said, no, it's working. So we don't stop to do that. Okay. So we keep doing it. And I think that the parameter that needs for me to focus on is it working right now? If it's working, keep doing it. And if the problem is when it's not working, but sometimes you think it's not working and it's just a question of time. So leaving it enough time to know, okay, now I know I've tested on X number of leads, X number of things. It's not working. So what do we need to change? But giving it enough time. And if we have results, don't change something that works. That's that's the thing. And also something that is important that came to mind when you talked is the focus on the result versus the process. This is something that we are really working on with my wife, to not be focused on how many clients we get, but on doing the process of 200 KF. So doing the cold emails, doing the things, if we know we do X amount of campaigns and X amount of things, because we already had results, we know it's something that works. So even if in one campaign, maybe we won't have as many results, and that's okay, but it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means that we need to do more. But I don't want to put my, the success of what we're doing in the results, because it's out of my hand at the end of the day. But what is in my control is to do the things. Yeah. And so this is still something that is difficult, because you want the clients, you want the things like that. But I'm trying really hard to now try to focus on being happy by me doing the work instead of when I have a client. So of course we are very happy when we have a new client, but it's doing the work that is very important.
Totally. Yeah, I guess like judging your merits as a business person based on the inputs, like just doing the work you know is important, versus judging your merits based on outputs, I think is important.
Exactly.
Well, one thing that I would very slightly push back on is, and we're all different, this is just an opinion, so take it or leave it, but the concept of don't change something if it's working, even if it's working suboptimally. My reframe or my different take on it would be, don't burn it down, but iteratively A/B test it. So in the case of manual audits, like I would say that my long-term objective with 200 KF for lead magnets, for cold outreach and stuff, for most people wouldn't be manual Loom audits, or at least for most ADHDers, because I don't want to fucking do Loom audits all the time. They're boring. They take time. They're boring. To me, the Loom audit is a valuable mechanism for like a V1 lead magnet, because you're able to pivot so easily because it's a manually done thing. But that it's almost like the value to me is as a prototype for a long-term, more passively fulfilled thing, if the conversion metrics are there. So what I would say is, if something is working, don't burn it down, but maybe A/B test it. So to me, the ideal step would be conceptualizing a different kind of lead magnet that could be more programmatically fulfilled, like one of those Vidu audits or whatever, the simulated ones, and then A/B test that in the same campaign where half your engaged leads get a manual one, half get a Vidu one, and then you see what that conversion rate is, and then you kind of iterate your way into whatever business, and that'll keep you a lot more engaged as an ADHDer, because then you're designing like marketing processes versus fulfilling marketing tasks, which for me,
I
like
see.
that's going to be the game changer for me, is marketing processes, not marketing tasks.
Yeah, I see.
And I think that's what draws me personally as an ADHDer to cold outreach and ads and stuff anyway, more than kind of like social media content creation, is that
I
social
hate
media,
that.
yeah, it feels kind of like this nebulous, unknowable hamster wheel where it's like you make content, you have to keep making content, you throw it out there, and hopefully you get leads from it. Whereas with ads or cold outreach or anything that's a bit more systematic, it's like you build the system that you determine works. And the only way you determine it works is through a lot of iteration, where you think something's going to work and it doesn't. And you're like, oh, why didn't that work? And then over time, after like 10 of these, you start to get a really clear model. And this is something I wanted to zoom into today, because something that worked well for you was doing like almost a non-intuitive thing. So like most people, when they send their campaigns, send them to US businesses. And since you're French and in France, you decided to send them to French businesses, even though the list is much smaller, a lot less leads, probably lower buying power, etc. And what were the results of that experiment, Virginie?
So the results. So first, the first ever campaign I sent was for ads. So for the ads offer that we have. So basically doing ads for gyms that want to have new clients. So the first was that, and from this one, we had some trials. So gyms that said, yes, we want to try the ads, but we realized that this is not the offer that we wanted to put forward. First, because this is not what we prefer to do. And the algorithm of Meta and everything is changing, and this is a lot of stress. And this is very result focused ads. And so that's something that I didn't want to have this stress, like everything based on that kind of thing. Whereas the website, it's really something that I know I control. Now I can see a website and I can say, okay, I know I'm going to double or triple the amount of leads. So that's cool. And now that we've done all of these clients and we see all the results that we get them, I know that I'm really confident in that. So that's why we decided to switch to websites, even if we thought it would be, we would get less results. But yeah, we said, okay, we just don't want to build something on something that we don't feel 100% confident in. And it doesn't mean that we do not offer ads. We offer them afterwards, but it's like, it's not, the main thing. So the first campaign was that. And from there, I got one client in ads. Yes, because we have it now. So yeah, we got one client in ads. And I don't really remember the result because it's not the main thing that we wanted to build. But then we started the main campaign on the website as the offer in June, end of June, 2025. And so for this one, we did, the first one was US. And after that, we did French. And then after that, again, US. But I've compiled all the statistics from all of these mini campaigns into one. So for the US, basically what we offer is video audit of their actual website and say if they want us to send it to show how we could improve the conversion rate of the website. And so for the US leads, we have 2,184 leads. We did 17 audits, so it's a 0.7% conversion. From these 17 audits, we got one call, so it's 5.8%. And from this one call, one client, 100% on the call. So it's one client for 2,184 US leads. Yes. And in France, we got 725 leads. So a third of the US leads. 59 audits, so it's 8%. 17 calls, 28.8%. And 10 clients, 58.8% of conversion.
And I'm curious, comparing that against your US one you ran after, because what strikes me as the biggest weakness in the funnel for that first one is the 17 audits to one call. Like that's a huge conversion drop off, especially given how much time the audits would have taken. Curious what this last US campaign, what that same funnel looked like. Because you're saying, you said that you did one campaign to the US for ads, one campaign to the US for websites, one campaign to France for websites, and then one more campaign to US for websites?
Yeah.
So that most recent US website campaign, what did that conversion?
It's combined into all the US for the website is the one that I gave you. And because when I say French, it's not one campaign. We did a few of them, and I've grouped the statistics together. So the US that I gave is the campaigns we did for website audits.
Okay. Well, then what I would say as like a little business homework assignment for you, maybe once you're back from vacation or whatever, but worth writing down. I just shipped the code to lead tables for the the campaigns functionality. So you can add each campaign there. And if you, I'll just show you how it'll look. If you upload these, you can see your conversion rates within the scope of a campaign. So if you go here to campaigns and you would say like USA campaign number 2 or whatever, and you associate leads with it from your lead table, you can go to the metrics page. Let's find one that I actually have some. This is the live site, so I don't have any on here. But if you go on the metrics page for your campaign, you'll be able to see your conversion rate. Here's a good example one. You'll see your conversion rate at each step. So here's an example one in my test site where there are 1,500 leads. And then you in the campaign mark the positive replies. So you'd see you got 6% positive reply rate into a 58% CTA request rate. So in this case, that would be, you could track differently meetings. I haven't added the meeting stat yet, but I think it'd be really valuable for you, Virginie, to go through and actually determine what your most recent US campaigns meeting booking rate from the audits was. Because for that first one, going from 17 audits to one call, like that's very low. But what if this most recent one was a conversion rate? So you had 59.
The recent one is inside these metrics.
Yeah, but it's mixed with the first one, right? Like they're all mixed together.
Yeah.
So how would you know it? Because your process, presumably from your very first one, you've gotten better at doing the audits, right?
This is what okay. So let me see. I can tell you maybe.
And you don't have to check now, but I think it would be good information for you to know later because the reason I asked you about your stats, what I wanted to highlight for the listeners is that Virginie ran her first campaign to the US because that's what everybody does. It's usually a good assumption to run your campaign to the US. But what she found is that running campaign to France performed way better. And to me, this most likely comes down to a few reasons. Like number one, she is French and she can speak French in her emails. And she knows French culture, and probably French people aren't getting as much cold outreach. Like there are a bunch of variables, but ultimately, if you only have those 2 data points, you're kind of still guessing about what caused different funnel conversion rates. And this kind of more experimental A/B testing approach to it would be trying to really dial in, knowing for sure what caused something. So that 17 audits to one call versus 59 audits to 17 calls. So that's like 25% conversion rate difference compared to like 7% or whatever it comes out to. So I'd want to like find out why. Like, why is that? And knowing your most recent US campaigns conversion rate there would help us to compare. But this.
So you speak about the conversion from audits to call?
Yeah.
But I had one call only.
Across all US campaigns
yes,
ever?
Yes.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. It's all combined into
And one. Was that campaign from that call from this most recent campaign? From the first campaign?
I think it was, I can tell you that. Let me see. Zero conversion. It was from one of the recent one. Yeah.
And do you know how many audits you did in the recent one?
I can tell you. So this is, just a second.
Yeah, you're good.
So I don't understand. Yeah, because sometimes they say positive reply and no, I don't know exactly.
It's okay. I mean, the reason that I built this functionality into lead tables for the campaigns is because of how hard it is in these native tools to find this information.
Yeah.
But this is why I ask, right? Because 17 audits to one call looks like a problem with capital P. But suppose you do this thing I'm asking you to do, and you find that your very first campaign had, let's say, 12 audits and 0 calls, right? That's a 0% conversion rate. Obviously, that's bad, but it was your first one. And that would mean your most recent campaign was 5 audits to 1 call, which is a 20% conversion rate, which pretty much mirrors your France campaign. And so it's not necessarily a problem. It could just be an indicator that like you've gotten better at doing them, because that's part of the reason I have you guys do them in the first place, is that the act of doing these like helps you articulate your value, but like it builds skills, even if it's boring. So I do think it'd be worth looking into, but let's extricate ourselves from metrics. We don't have to get super in the weeds. The main thing that I thought was interesting was your approach to marketing and to your positioning and to your offers follows this 200 KF like iterative validation approach. And something that I think has been cool seeing about you is that given that your first campaign was for this ads offer, which as you say was really like results oriented and stuff, and you didn't like that. And your second campaign was around this like website offer, which is maybe a little bit less sexy on that service offering thermometer kind of scale. But you had a bunch of experience with it, et cetera. Like, I feel like having these 2 data points around running campaigns and trying to sell different services probably has given you a lot of useful context for comparison. Do you feel that it has?
What do you mean exactly?
Like when you are evaluating performance of one campaign, or when you're trying to close a client and you're seeing how much effort it is to close them versus not. Like, I guess just for me, if I've only done one thing one type of way, it can be hard to know if it's good or bad because I don't have anything to compare it to. It's hard to know if it's hard or easy. It's hard to know if it's winning or losing, those kinds of things. Like, do you feel you've gotten context from doing 2 types of offers that's been valuable, or if you could do it again, would you just go straight for the website offer?
I think both were good. The ads one is good, and it's actually easier to close because it's a free trial of a month, so it's easier to close. It's just that at the end, some will not continue, or it's I don't know if I can really compare that. If I wanted to do only ads, it would be a good way to do it. I don't think it's a bad way to do it. It's just that, my focus was not, I didn't want to offer this as my primary offer. I wanted to go back to I'm a web developer, so I wanted to go back to what I do.
And looking at your campaigns now, though, like this is why I'm dialing in on it, is trying to find out how much value you've gotten out of having had that experience and knowing for sure. So for example, like now that you're doing your website campaigns, if you imagine you went straight into the websites from the start and you didn't experiment with ads, like would you always be wondering how it would be doing compared to that? Like things like that?
Yes. I think I would be wondering, and I wouldn't have the experience, because it's not that it didn't work. Like the campaign worked because we had some good leads and everything. It's just that I didn't like offering the service myself. Then after, I didn't like the actual work that it would imply, the actual stress that it would be to always be looking at a certain CPL and things like that. So I think I would wonder. I'm sure I would think it would be easier. That's for sure. Yeah.
To me, this is really, I'm glad you said that. Let me share my screen for this. There's this thing in 200KF. I don't know if you ever saw it. Probably you saw it. But it's a good reminder if you didn't. But I bet you saw it. So I have this resource in the course where it's this like offer and funnel validation milestones. Do you remember this thing? Have you seen this?
Maybe yes, but it looks a little bit the same. So let me see. What is it inside of it?
Well, I'll read it out. But basically, the way that an offer like validates, in my mind, in a very linear way, is first you validate, can I get positive replies? Can I get engaged leads? However I'm marketing it. So if it's cold email, it'd be positive replies. If it's ads, it'd be clicks, whatever. That's like the first validation milestone. Like, do people care in the way I position it? And then if that happens, can I get people to jump on calls? If that happens, can I get people to show up to the calls? If that happens, can I find qualified leads? If that happens, can I get clients? If that happens, can I onboard them? If that happens, can I start the projects? If that happens, I finish the projects. And if that happens, let's see at the delivery. So all of these expand into detail. And so to me, this is really exciting to hear you speak to, because you essentially went through this entire validation process, except it got like soft invalidated at step 10, first projects delivered. Like you did it, you did the thing, you got them there, but you just didn't like it quite as much as the other. So you wanted to try the other. And so to me, this is it's music to my ears, because you went through it in that way and you got to backtrack without a bunch of faff. So to me, that's really cool. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
One thing that I did want to talk about though, while we're here, is that, so if anyone's listening, you can go to clientforge.ai/thermometer to look at what I'm showing here. So we have this service offering thermometer thing. And when you did ads, it would have been up here at the top, like traffic generation or traffic to leads. And when you're doing websites, the one I wanted to really speak to is that what Virginie didn't do, she didn't just reach out to these gyms and say, hey man, do you want a website? Can you hire me to make a website? That would be down here, commoditized services. You articulated it in the value forward way, even though the way you delivered that was through your website services and stuff. So to pause for a moment, suppose I am a CrossFit gym. And I'm like, hey, Virginie, hi, how's it going? I heard you do some services or something. Like, what do you do for me if I hire you? What would you say? Sorry to put you on the spot.
I know it's good. I help you get more trial sessions booked from your website.
How do you do that?
I improve the website to convert better. And we improve SEO so that you have more traffic. So it's two ways that make that we usually double or even triple the number of requests for trial sessions that you get from the website.
That's cool. And what do you do on the website to make it convert better?
We have our secret formula that we use on the website. Because we've tested a lot of things, and we know now how to present things, how to talk to people, because people can be intimidated to start in a new gyms and things like that. So it's a combination of copywriting and conversion optimization on the website to get these and SEO.
And so the reason for the audience, and I guess for your knowledge too, Virginie, why I wanted to do this and put you on the spot like this is that nowhere in that little spiel did you say, oh, well, the first thing we do is we install blah, blah, blah plugin. And then we install this other plugin. Then we do this other commoditized task. Like, you didn't speak to technical implementation in any way, which to me is the right way to position services. Because if you're just speaking to the technical things you do, that's commoditized and you just get compared to people at lower price points. Everything you spoke to, especially that you have some secret sauce behind it, it speaks to like essentially converting traffic to leads, which is a high value thermometer thing. And it shows why you're the right fit versus others. Like saying, we've learned things from this space about how people respond because it's hard to change gyms, whatever. Like, not every WordPress developer would know that stuff. So there would be a very real like loss of value for me as a client to go to somebody else. And that's actually a good tee up for a question that I hadn't even thought to ask, but that came to mind now. I remember when you did your very first, I think it was like your first website campaign or something, you had a lead who was interested, but then they like hired someone cheaper or something like that. with you getting better and speaking to these things and having these results and stuff from your more recent campaigns, like your one in France, have you been running into that at all? Or are you not seeing people going with cheaper commoditized options? Or what's your experience been evolving in that space?
Sometimes it's still difficult to make them understand that it's not, it's an investment, it's not an expense, what we do. So we have on the website, we've built a simulator of investment,
nice.
return on investment. So, and I've been inspired by what you do. And
with
this
my conversion wizard one,
yes,
you're saying?
yes. And this, I'm using it during the calls because I can see how people just, and even if honestly, it's we don't have very expensive rates, but for France especially, and the fact that CrossFit gym owners specifically are struggling financially, it's an expense, and so it's not the easiest niche to sell to, I would say, and so I really need to show them that it's not going to be an expense, it's going to be an investment, and that even if we get them the least, very, very least that we think and we know, because if we accept and if we want to work with them, it's because we know we can get them results. I wouldn't redo a website that have everything in place. I didn't see, like, I think in all of the audits we did, I think there are one or two websites that I said, no, it's not useful that we work with them.
Your website's good enough. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But I wouldn't work with them if I thought I couldn't have a result. I don't see the point. So if we work with them, it's because I know I can get results. And this is where I say, I know that at the very least, we can get you that. And even with that, you make a profit for the year. So that's the way we do it. And this is very important. But I think that's also the difficulty to make people understand, because they understand everything we say, but sometimes it might be difficult to believe it or to understand that it's not an expense. They still have, and especially in France, I think, and this is why I wanted to do the US first, because I think US people, and when I say US, it's like Australia and everything, but English-speaking countries, that they see better the investment rather than the expense. But yeah.
And you can combat it certain ways. Like one thing I want to highlight and double click on that you said that I think is useful is that I think a lot of the time it's one of the shortcomings of the thermometer, I would say, is that when someone sees the thermometer, they assume the top is best and that the bottom is worst. And yes, the bottom is worst, but the top isn't necessarily best. The top is just easiest to sell. That's really all it is. And we've got Neil in the course doing his security offer, which is in that yellow zone, but it's working because people are seeing the value, just less. And I think a lot of the time when people start to get their head in this space, they feel like they have to do some performance-based pricing or some crazy guarantee and all these things. And of course, if we do these things, it'll convert better. But what I like about your situation is that you're not doing those things and it's converting fine. But what I wanted to surface as something you could test is, like, as you're aggregating these results, a question I'd ask you is, so you're saying, from what I remember, that when you launch these clients' new websites, most of them are getting a 2x or 3x increase or whatever within a pretty short period of time. Do you have like any minimum traffic qualifications or anything like that for you to work with someone?
No, because we could see that even if it's a small town, because our business is like very location dependent, it depends where they are, we still have the results. So it doesn't really matter. It's just that the overall amount of leads is going to be less. So
right,
someone in a big city is going to have like more, but even if it's a small city, we can still double or triple the number of requests.
Cool. Then what I would say, once you feel feel like the risk is worth taking for the increased conversion rates. Like if the challenge is getting people to believe, and it always is, any kind of sales thing, like for the 200 KF sales page order, if they see your testimony, they're like, okay, sure, Virginie got 10 clients, but will work for me with my business and my specific everything. And that's where guarantees can be really useful. And so in your case, maybe something you could do one day, I'm not saying you have to do it, and certainly not that you have to do it now, and you can be perfectly successful even if you never ever do it. But if you wanted to do it, you could experiment with some kind of guarantee that's oriented around this percentage increase. And maybe you would need to pre-qualify, like they need to have a certain minimum number of traffic so that you can get statistically significant data. I don't know, you'd have to think about it. But you could do something where it's like, we guarantee you at least a 50% conversion rate into trials from whatever you're getting now. And if we don't do that, you don't pay our monthly fee. Like we don't charge you until we do that. So it's basically, you're not saying you get all your shit for free. It's just saying we will work for free until we get you to that result point, and then you pay from then forward. And probably your sunk costs doing this will be really low. Because I would imagine even in your worst case scenarios, it's not going to take you more than a couple months. So a couple months of fees burned in exchange for probably 30 to 50% higher close rates.
Yeah,
I bet
that's true.
would be a good ROI.
You think that could go as high as that, like 30 to 50% more? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, because it takes all the risk off their plate. Like if you have a good guarantee that successfully removes the risk barrier that they're worried about, it could be much, like it could absolutely double conversion rates. Because then it becomes only like the only thing they have to believe is whether or not you will actually honor your guarantee. And in your case, you have a long business history, you have Google reviews, you have past clients. So like you're clearly not some fly-by-night freelancer, so they're not going to be worried about that. But as I always say, the only way you know is to test. So by now you've done enough calls that you know what your conversion rate is, and that's really exciting for you. So I would just calculate that, find your average call conversion rate from meeting to client, experiment with a guarantee on like your next 10 calls, or for every call you do, you alter it so that even if the time of year changes, like, you know, as we get into October, we've got Black Friday time, like it's different energy. And so if you were to stack, you know, July calls with no guarantee against November calls with a guarantee, that's not necessarily a fair comparison. So if it's like your call on November 1st has a guarantee, your call on November 8th doesn't, your call on November 14th does, your call on November 20th does. If you do it like that, you can start to get some good indicators once you aggregate over time. But again, nerdy in the weeds.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing to try.
And track it. And so that's, you can do that in Client Forge once I get the new, I don't have campaign metrics beyond initial lead magnet yet, because I just wanted to get the damn thing shipped. But I'll add more deeper funnel metrics later for tracking this exact thing.
That's really nice. Yeah.
So we've officially finished one section from my interview notes layout. So I'm going to be scrapping some of this stuff. But one section I do have in here is the quick wins thing, like the before and after. I just want to get a sense of it. So if you were to look at this progress you've made in the past year since you joined 200 KF, so let's say since July of last year, so 1.3 years or whatever, what's the biggest, most exciting win you've had?
The campaigns, I would say, like getting the clients, that's the most exciting win. Yeah.
And then if you look at the before and after transformation, like in terms of how you were feeling about lead gen, client acquisition, your future of the business, before versus after, like, what do you think the biggest differences are? And I could tee you up because I have some guesses, but I'm going to keep it open and see how you answer first.
No, it's serenity, I would say. It's like, I know now that we have a system that works. Before, I was always trying to find the best way to get clients. And it was not something that could be reproduced easily. And it was like social media, and I hate these things. So it's like, I don't like that. So yeah, it's serenity, I would say, on knowing that we do something that gets us results, And of course, because we're not going to do only CrossFit gyms now, we're going to open to other gyms and things like that. So it doesn't mean it will always work as good as it works right now, or it might work better, I don't know. But we know that we have something that works. And if we do enough of it, it's going to get us clients.
Nice. And I feel like one of the big things for you has been, if we're looking at the before and after, like the shift from being dependent on like whale clients, like really large clients, whatever, into having diversified income. At least for me, whenever I've been in a situation where I'm working with like 1 or 2 or 3 large clients, there's always that late middle of the night feeling of like, oh, what if I lose this client? Like I'm fucked, kind of thing. And I'm curious what the before and after emotionally has been like for you, presumably moving towards this more like kind of retainer based, more client diversity kind of thing. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious what that before and afters felt like for you.
So right now, we are not at a point where I can say I'm totally, I have enough of these new clients to say this is it, but I know that it's going to get there, and this is really emotionally it's nothing to compare, because when you rely on a few big clients, it's you always think, what if I don't get this one, what if I lose this one, and everything. And now I know that what we are building right now is going to be very sustainable. And even if if we lose one client, it's okay, because we have all of the other ones. So yeah, that's really, really different. It's also peace of mind. Yeah.
Nice. So I feel like, I see it a lot with particularly / mostly with developers, where a lot of air quotes freelance developers kind of are just employees without benefits. Like I see a lot of devs where they have one big project, or sometimes 2, but it's often really just one.
Yeah.
And that usually if I were to give prescriptive advice on like business trajectory from there, it's usually like, okay, try to get this one client down to half your time or something, or work weekends and nights, such that you can start to diversify with like several smaller clients where you're not like vulnerable to your income drying up for one loss. And then once you've done that next step, you can phase out this large client and have your income be comprised of like 5 to 10 bare minimum amount of clients, so that every client's just one of many. Having gone through a kind of similar transition yourself or whatever, like, do you have any insights or tips or things along the way, like just anything to share if a developer is listening who has like only one client or like 2 clients, and they feel this late night fear, like it could just be loose inspo, like it's worth it to pursue, or it could be like it's hard, or there's some downsides, or whatever you want to share. Curious.
I think it's scary to do it, because if you're doing something like your program, for example, 200K, it's going to request time before it works. And so this is the scary part, because you have to, except if you want to work 100% of your time, but you're going to have to remove some of your other work to be able to do this work. And so for me, what I see, and even because I removed some of my big clients' work to be able to do this, it means that right now I'm taking money from what I have sometimes, because right now it doesn't cover everything. So it's an investment, and I really see it like that, because I love thinking about investments like in ETFs or things like that, and it's like, 10% a year if you're doing something that's pretty okay and average. But if I put this money in me, I know I can do so much better. And this is where my thinking goes. It's like, okay, I have to cut down on that. I'm not going to earn as much. So if you can keep the amount of money you need every month and then have the time to do it, that's perfect. But for me, I had to make the decision that it may not going to cover every month what I need, and I will have to take into my emergency funds and things like that, and that's okay. because I know it's worth it, and I know this is the business that I want to build.
Nice. I think that speaks to it really well. And it is always hard and risky. And like sometimes people can't cleanly maintain one reduced client relationship while growing things on the side, which is the safe route, because sometimes the client says no, I don't want to do that or whatever. I would say, like, personally for me, my brain would not perform well if I had only one client and I fired them and tried to build up this 200 KF pipeline living off of savings. I think that would be hyper stressful, and I wouldn't recommend that to people. I imagine you'd mirror that. I'm curious what your recommendation would be if someone's like, well, I asked the client if I can reduce and they said no. So what do I do, Virginie?
No, I wouldn't. If you have no income whatsoever, no, I wouldn't do it like that. I think I would work on the weekends, and it's just trying to find time to make it work. And also, I think that right now, your process in 200K is improving a lot. And I think what you did with the lead tables and client first and everything is save so much time.
Yeah.
So I think the process is going to be less time consuming than what it was at first. And even like that, I think it's worth it, even if it's a lot of time. But
but it is a lot of time. And that's the main thing.
But
it's a lot of time for a long time.
Yes, exactly. So as long as you know that, it's an investment. It's like, I think a lot of things that are worth to have in life, it's like health. It's like, working out every week and everything. It's like, it's a long-term thing. I would work extra hours or things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the concept of an investment, because I think when I was just freelancing for clients and I wasn't growing my business, I think that a lot of what I felt was this feeling like I'm kind of treading water, like I'm getting this good income, I have a nice life or whatever, but I don't feel like my investment is like stagnated, like I don't feel like I'm increasing my financial leverage as the years grow and stuff. And that's kind of the difference here, is like, it's why we want to be business owners in the first place. If you work 20 years at some job, you get your incremental raises, you climb the ladder, but growing a proper business gives you the ability to get these like multiples of income growth. You don't get those when you're stagnated. And if you, at least in my opinion, if you have one client who you're just doing only fulfillment for all day, every day, you're probably not getting those business gains. You might be getting a lot of skill gains, which there's something to be said for that. Let's start winding down, because I'm just looking at the time. So before I go into my closing questions, do you have anything that we kind of glossed over that you think would be worth a little more detail on, or anything you feel like I should have asked you that I didn't? Things like that?
Nope. I think we're good.
I've got some nice teed up 200 KF social proof questions. One of them, if you're chatting with a freelancer friend who's struggling with client acquisition, would you recommend 200 KF? Why or why not?
Yes, so for sure I would recommend it. Why? Because it's a way to build a sustainable business and to have like leads in a, in consistent manner. And so nice. I think that's the biggest pain points for freelancers. And yeah, so yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
And looking back, who do you think it's a perfect fit for, and who do you think wouldn't get as much value from it or be in like a good mental or emotional position to take advantage of it?
It's a good question. I don't know who wouldn't be a good fit. So it's cold email. So if it's like a niche that you cannot get from emails, I don't know, but I don't see something that could apply. But yeah, no, I don't see. I don't have a case in mind for that.
Okay, fair. When you in the past have like considered different approaches for client generation stuff, what made you feel like this process was the right move versus social media or whatever?
Because it's more aligned with me and the way and what I like to do, what I don't like to do. So I tried social media and things like that, and first I don't like it, so that's really difficult. And I think maybe a lot of freelancers are like me, but I really don't like it. I decided even to remove my Instagram and account personally, so that's another subject. But yeah, I really don't like it, and so this feels really aligned with what I want to do, and I don't see cold email as something that is bothering people, because I even have like one of the clients we got during the summer who told me thank you so much for doing this prospection, because he did the best months ever since we've worked with him. So
Wow.
that's and that's really cool to see, and we know we make a difference. So yeah, that's I think it's really aligned with my values and the way that I want to do the work.
Nice. Yeah, and I feel like that's the biggest thing, is that cold email gets a bad rap because a lot of people use it to spam.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
what I try to make clear is that cold email will always be interruptive, just like advertisements are always interruptive. But it's only spam if you spam people. You try to take without giving anything first. And if you do it value for people, will literally thank you for cold emailing them. And that's awesome. We've had that.
And there are people who are not answering very nicely to cold email, but that's okay, because it's one person who's going to not be nice in an email answering, and versus the clients that you get that you're really helping. So I really don't bother with that.
Nice. That's a good way to look at it. So sounds like you're in a really good place. You've got a funnel that's fundamentally working. You're producing leads predictably. You're getting clients. Like, shit's just kind of working. But with ADHD, it's a bit boring now, maybe, or not boring, but it's less novel.
Attractive,
because you've figured it out more. You've walked the trail a bit, and now you're not blazing trails. You're just walking on the same damn trail. I'm also, one thing we didn't talk about, you talk about how meditation helps, but like, you know, in the time that you've known me, I have gained a good amount of weight from eating pizza and not exercising. Those are my main causes.
Okay.
And like, you go to the damn gym. The gym, like, at least for me, the biggest challenge is that I don't find working out to be fun or enjoyable. And I think maybe no one does. And that it's like painful in a way that it's like good for you. And so you do it, but it's a willpower thing. I don't know. That's actually an interesting question. It's going to be a sidebar. Do you like working out, or do you like what working out does for you, and so you tolerate the discomfort of working out? What is it for you?
At first, it was I liked what it did for me, and now I like both. But there are a lot of times, because I go like 5 times a week, or 4 to 5 times, 4 times now. Yeah, 4 times. It depends, but it's at least 4. And I like it because it's now, when I don't go, I feel it and I don't feel good. And also I found my thing. I found CrossFit, and I cannot work out alone. I can't. It's like, it's just, I need to go and don't think about what I'm going to do, and being with other people.
So do you think that in this topic we're about to crack open of like focus, even as the novelty is reducing, do you think your exercise regime, like showing up when you don't want to, etc., has helped, or maybe not because you like it anyway now? Like, do you think it helps you with that focus? I'm wondering.
It helps me a lot to have created this, this routine for me. Like, now it's been 11 years that I do this like every week. So I think that it really helps to be that type of person, to know that I can do that, so I can follow through with other things. So that's a very good thing. And I wanted to say something else, but I forgot.
Well, tell me if it comes up.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about what's next for your business, let's open that up. So what's the future look like to you? What's the current challenge, etc.?
So current challenge is to stay interested, I would say. But I think, yes, I can find ways to improve, to A/B test, to do some things like that. And the next thing that we want is to keep doing this for a long time. Yeah, so because we have a subscription model, this is something that we need to keep doing in order to have enough volume to be at the level that we want to be. So so the goal is to keep doing this and just keep doing it. That's it.
And what's your dream business look like? Like, obviously these things change, but I think freelancers go through different phases where one of them's like, I want to just know how to get clients. I don't want to think too much about scaling, because if I were to try to scale now, I don't have lead gen, so I don't want to get too big. It's scary. But then once you get the lead gen thing figured out enough that you have confidence, suddenly the sky opens up and you can do whatever you want. So I'm just kind of curious, if leads weren't an issue, assuming you kept making the lead gen stuff work, what do you want the business to look like in the coming years? Like, do you want to just get another 10 or 20 clients and just keep it chill, lifestyle business, you and your wife? Do you want to grow bigger? What are you working towards?
Our main goal is 100 clients.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. Cool. But then I don't know what it will look like, or I don't know. I'm trying to not to think about it too much because I don't want to, to not stay focused on what we're doing right now. But yes, that's the main goal.
I wonder, so I don't want to steer you because you said you did have some stuff you want to talk to me, so I can make a note to circle back. But with regards to thinking of the challenges, and those dogs are quiet enough that we won't cut this one, that's fine. With regards to thinking of those challenges, is there anything you wanted my take on, or do you feel we've talked enough about it, you don't even have a thing to ask me at this point? Like, yeah.
I wonder, no, I think we talked about the fact that we can A/B test the Loom audits, maybe the guarantee on the calls. I was also wondering, because I leave people on the call with total freedom, like, okay, you can think about it, no problem, things like that. I know that the US way to do it is not that. It's like a little bit more, okay, if you do it in the next 24 hours, I will give you this type of, of promotion or something like that. But I feel it's not the way that I want to do things. So I guess the goal would be to improve things and stay the person that I want to be in business. That's the thing.
So let's zoom in on that one. So you don't want to do that incentivize urgency. So for the listeners, the two biggest things that drive action in a conversion context are urgency and scarcity. Urgency is, it's Black Friday, the deals run out in 24 hours, so you got to buy it today. That's urgency. Scarcity is, we only have 3 of these in stock, so buy it before they're sold out. Those are like the most influential conversions above everything else, typically. And so, Virginie, when we look at that type of urgency, and there are no wrong answers. The reason I'm asking is not saying you're wrong. It's me wanting to zoom in. Why is it you don't want to do that? Like, what about it feels icky?
Because I know it's manufactured to get the conversion. So yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the exact thing for me as well. If it feels like I layered this literally just as a fucking marketing strategy and I'm just doing it to get sales and it doesn't actually matter, then I wouldn't do it either, and I'd feel icky about it too. I think you and I have similar integrity goalposts or ethical marketing goalposts or whatever. But the thing that I would say is thinking about ways that within your own sphere of ethicalness or the way you want to grow your business, what ways you can layer urgency and scarcity that would feel legit. So if you haven't listened to the audiobook of Alex Hormozy's $100 million offers, he has some interesting strategies for both in there.
I've read it, yeah.
One that I liked around scarcity for agencies that I think is really appropriate is the amount of clients that you will sign on per week or per month or something like that. Because that's a way to say like, hey, just so you know, we only sign on 4 clients a month. 2 of them are already taken. So if you want us to get going now so that you can start converting double the amount of trials this month without having to wait until November, I would recommend that you get in soon. No worries if it's not the right time, but if you want to not just be burning money, obviously you wouldn't say it like that. But if you were to do something like that, like obviously if you were like, well, shit, we could onboard 20 clients. I would venture though that, so you say you try not to think too much about the 100 clients thing, but I think it's important to not get distracted about what's important now. But I also think it's important to be thinking about what kind of trail to blaze right now that's moving you towards that. And what it means to run a business that's doing that, like what things have to be true to service 100 clients. And so let's just simulate real quick. Let's say, you want to be growing your business to 200 clients, and you're going to probably have to be spending a lot of time like on the business, dialing in your marketing, dialing in your process, whatever. What do you think in a given week, the amount of hours a week you want to be working on the business, not in the business, are?
I think it's going to be 50-50, something like that.
And how many hours a week do you typically want to work?
Like 35.
Cool.
40.
So 30. Well,
Max.
35 is fine.
Yeah.
So 35, 50% on biz means that you've got 17.5 available. So if you onboard one new client today, what's your like first week time commitment for a new, I don't know how your fulfillment works, but for me with websites in the past, especially since I didn't do any kind of retainers or monthly stuff, it's usually just like one big ass chunk at first and then just chill after. But since you're doing like ongoing things, presumably a client takes time on an ongoing basis that wouldn't for me. But yeah, so if you onboard a client today, what are the time implications of that in week 1, in week 2, in month 1, et cetera? What's that look like for you? And not your wife, like you personally.
It's over the first month that we build the website. So I don't know exactly the amount of time, but
do you have a guess? It could just be a rough guess.
It's maybe, I would say 3 full days, maybe.
At 8 hours a day?
Yeah, something like that.
So perfect, easy. So one client essentially equals 24 hours. So 17.5 times 4 is 70. Divided by 24 is 2.91. So you personally, Virginie, as of now, only have enough hours in the business to onboard 3 clients a month. If you don't want to start taking out of your emergency fund of growing the business. So this gives you, well, number one, as you scale, you'll want to change that. But for right now, it gives you a really cool ethical scarcity, which is saying like, instead of just being constrained by the gods of time that you can only fulfill 3 a month, this is instead just a policy. And it's something that you articulate, and then you can build a wait list and stuff. And so if you just say, we only sign on 3 clients a month, and we've already got 2 slots taken for October. So if you want to get in this month, start now. If that was the case, if you were on a call, how would you be honest? How would you feel saying something like that?
The problem that I see straight away is that I think that the type of clients we're working with don't care if it starts now or a month from now. And that's my guess, because they take a lot of times to do things. They do everything in their business. They coach, they do all of it. So they really don't have a lot of time. And usually every time we ask something, it takes a lot of time for us to get what we need. And so when they decide, they take time also even just to sign the contract. And it doesn't mean they're not going to do it, but sometimes it takes a week until we send the contract and they sign it. So I'm not sure they are in this type of, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's okay if it's not this month, it can be months after that. You know what I mean?
So I would offer that if the reason that they are dragging their feet is because they're really busy and spread thin, that's not necessarily at odds with their desire to start, and that you can kind of wrap that into the close. Like if you can say, I've found that most of my CrossFit clients or most of my gym clients are spread thin because they're having to do blah, 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 and all the million different things. And that always kind of extends timelines. So it'll probably take realistically a month for your site to get up. And if you want that to be, if you want to start doubling your leads and doubling your trials and growing your business by a projected 45,000 euros a year or whatever that comes out to, assuming you do that, if you don't do this kind of anchoring in your calls, I think it would be smart. And so to backtrack a little, the way you would do that anchoring would be if you know on average you're getting 2 to 3x the amount of trials for your clients, you could talk to somebody on the sales call, depending on what French culture is around how much they feel comfortable sharing or whatever, but to help them do a little bit of simulatory math to like what you have on your calculator to be able to see, here are my current trials, here's how they convert into clients, here's what a 2x increase would mean, here's what that would mean for the amount of revenue I'm bringing in per year. Do you already do that with your calculator and stuff?
Yeah, with the calculator, I can say how much a year it's going to profit them. Yeah.
So you already have the fundamental there. And so the way to anchor for this close would essentially be like, if you want to start making that reality a reality right now versus waiting another month, because it's also going to take another month to build the thing, that's why you should start. And the reason I'm pushing back on this is I'm looking at your funnel metrics you mentioned earlier, 729 leads, 59 audits, 17 calls, 10 clients. So 17 to 10 is a greater than 50% conversion rate. That's good. That's a good conversion rate because these aren't like, most of us are used to getting leads from referrals where it's like a 90% conversion rate, but that doesn't count because you didn't have to do demand generation. These people were looking for a web designer. They found you, they liked you, so why not? But what you're doing is way different. You're interrupting someone and being like, hey, here's a new priority for your life. You got to do it. Do you want to do it? And the fact that you're getting more than 50% of calls to say yes to that means it is a priority to them. I would offer. I'm not saying this is guru's act, like I could be wrong, but I would think that if it's not a priority to people, your conversion rate would be much lower. So first off, do you think I'm off base there?
No, no, I think it's good.
So what I might offer, and I think I've got a script for it in 200KF or in the case study course or something. When someone signs on with you, I think it would be worth you asking them like, why did you decide to work with me now versus later? Like, why did this feel like a priority right now versus next month? And you're probably going to get things like, well, I want to get more sessions coming into my gym. And so why would I want to wait another minute? Whatever. So doing that audience research to find out like why people are making this decision will give you the ability to speak to it. So if you're not doing something like that already, I think it would be smart for you to do that. And so going back to that advice, so if it was like, you saying we only sign on 3 a month. So if you want to start getting, like if you want to get yourself on track to an extra 40,000 euros a year, like we talked about, starting this month versus waiting till later, it would be good to sign on today. Do you still think that wouldn't be worth trying to be like, yeah, well, fuck it. I'll wait until next month.
I can try. And I don't think it's going to feel like pressure because it's not, they can still think, oh, that's okay. I can do it next month. You know. Yeah. The only thing is, I'm just a little bit afraid that it's going to postpone to the next month. Then, like they will say they wouldn't be. They would be able to sign up this month. Yeah. Okay. I got it. Yeah.
And something I've seen work really, really well for my follow-ups. By the way, there's a free gem you can take whenever it's true. And for you, it now always is. When I'm following up with someone, so we go on the call, and I did this even when I didn't have a hard cap, when it was just Zach the Freelancer, like still Zach the Freelancer only has so many hours in the day. So if I were doing a follow-up with someone who we did a sales call, they seemed interested and I haven't heard back, they haven't closed yet, whatever, they're just dragging their feet. I'd be like, hey, Virginie, just wanted to check in on this. I've got some other people I'm talking to and they seem interested as well. So I wanted to see if you wanted to close on this because you and I talked first. So I want to give you priority if you're ready. Otherwise, I'm going to need to slate our start date for like next month or whenever I'm available next. And that has very, very, very high conversion rate for people who just need that little nudge. And I feel like the reason I'm harping on this so much is that probably one of my favorite, best things I ever did in my web design business was having a wait list, because you get this leverage from a wait list that gets people to make a fucking decision where it's like, hey, we only sign on 3 a month. We're booked up through March. Do you want to get this next slot or not? It like creates this kind of consequence to delaying.
Yeah.
That if right now you just leave it to their own devices, the consequence is there, because if 5 of your people said yes at once, you'd either say yes to all of them and burn yourself out, or tell them they got to wait. It's just not being used and harnessed. So I think that would be worth playing with. What if you're imagining implementing this? What questions do you have for me about how you might do it effectively in your own biz?
No, so far I'm good. We're going to think about it, because I think that's a lever that we can activate.
And if you can spy on my 200KF sales page to see some of the ways that I do it there. I think that the way to do it that's both effective for you and also, not douchey and also believable is like you let them know why it exists. So if you just say we only sign on 3 a month because it's a good marketing tactic, that's not effective.
No, that's not.
But if you say like, in order to serve our clients best and make sure that we guarantee a 2 to 3x increase, we can only sign on 3 clients a month to give our very best service. And then once you have a wait list, I never did this in my agency, but I wanted to put a little thing on my homepage where it'd show a calendar. It's like currently booked up until, and it would show like August or whatever.
Yeah, I like that too. I think this.
You can start doing things like this, and your conversion rates will go up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But I don't mean to be pushy.
That's a good one. That's a good one. We're going to talk about it. Yes, I like it.
So that was that one. Goal of 100 clients. Are you tracking all your time?
Yes.
Cool. So you could find out exactly what a typical client costs you on an ongoing basis in terms of time and a sign-on basis. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you have enough granularity with your buckets where you'd say, okay, this much of it goes into the design of the site, this much goes into the original build?
Yeah.
And do you use the tags like I recommend to say like, has to be done by me, could potentially be delegated? Do you do anything like that? Okay.
No.
That might be an interesting one as you scale for determining delegatability. Like when I was listening to the Dan Martell Buy Back Your Time one, or maybe it was the Mike Michalowicz Clockwork one. I think it was Dan's. I did that time audit and I looked at all my entries and I just like in my iPad scored how delegatable they were. Like, does this have to go to somebody who's $150 an hour? Could it go to somebody who's $20 an hour? Like how hard or easy? And I got a lot of clarity around like, what is the secret sauce? Yeah. And what's just the shit that I have to do? But for right now, that's probably not appropriate. I'm just thinking about this 100 clients thing. I would be really curious to know, once you have the initial website done, how much maintenance on a typical month has to be you and could be somebody else, things like that. Because 100 clients a month is a lot.
So the usual maintenance could be very low. It can be done by somebody else, and it's when clients ask for edits that it takes maybe me, but it could also be something else if I really trust the person. So I think this kind of ongoing work can be done by someone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So long term, maybe you'll be in like the kind of strategic sales kind of perspective and somebody else would be the developer or something like that.
Yeah, that would be it. I would love that. I would love to work on, I think I prefer to work on the business sometimes.
Yeah, me too. I would love a situation where I can like do the strategy, make the plans, do all the fun early stuff, and let somebody else take it through the finish line.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Well, this has been great. Really nice to chat. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Anything else to add? Anything I should have asked? Anything like that?
No, thank you. Thank you for all the work you do.
Yeah.
That's really a game changer for a lot of us. So yeah, thank you so much.
Well, and thank you for all the support and praise. It always helps me stay motivated.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Virginie. Talk to you soon. Have a great vacation. And
thank you.
See you. I'll hit stop. Don't disconnect.
Yes.
What a great episode, eh? I know I closed these off all that way, but I think this is really interesting, really cool getting her insights, seeing how much she's grown along the way if you related to her stuff and you were thinking, oh man, that 200K freelancer course sounds cool. I wish Zach would tell me how I could join it. I'll tell you now, you can join it. There's a waitlist typically, and we do have scarcity for this one. We cap the ceiling to be able to give the best support to our students. Since I do like reviews of the homework, we do the live calls, that kind of thing. So you can route this thing I just said into the ethical scarcity I was talking about with Virginie a few minutes ago. But nonetheless, you can get on the waitlist. We open a few times a year, which creates urgency. That's the other technique there. But it's also, again, ethical urgency because we want to have the cohorts kick off at the same time so that you get to be learning at the same pace as other students, and you can come to the calls at the same time as other students at the same places. So there are a lot of good reasons for it. And it is also a good conversion technique, but that's not why I do it, but it does help. So all that said, though, basically the course walks you through everything Virginie and I talked about here in this validation process. So we start by helping you find the niche that's going to be easiest for you to pursue, and then ideating problems you can solve, solutions you can deliver, offers you can create, doing marketing campaigns, lead magnets. Like basically you're going to learn how to do all the crap that an entire marketing department would normally do. And it's a lot of work, but the result is what Virginie has, which is that you have a proper business where you know how to create leads, you know how to convert them into clients, and then you can be focused on scaling. And that's really the difference between like job style freelancing and growing a proper business that you could sell one day. So if you are interested in going through that process, this next cohort is going to be fun because I just finished. Technically, I'm not at VO1 at the time of recording, but I will be by the time I market it. These two software products called Client Forge and Lead Tables to make students get wins a lot faster. I thought it'd be like a 2-month project, but instead it's inhaled my entire year, and I am so far at 1,836 hours on these fucking tools. That's almost done, and the magic's starting to happen because the whole vision from the start with lead tables in particular is getting students from 2 months to build their first list to 2 hours. And it sounds like sexy bullshit marketing lingo, but it's legit. I'm going to even do a live recording to demonstrate it sometime. So it's been really cool seeing that, and I'm really excited to see how it helps students the next one. And I'm thinking with this next cohort, I'm going to mix things up a little, where instead of making you do niche first, then solution, then problem offer, niche problem solution offer, because everybody gets stuck on the niche part. I was thinking now that we have these tools, we might do like a speed run experimentally. Never tried it before. I'll try it with you guys. We do a speed run as the first round where it's like, okay, sure, the service offering thermometer is cool. Getting a high scoring one's good, but let's save that for after the speed run. And let's just do a speed run around whatever you're doing right now as your service. So if you're a web designer who's working on some big ass SaaS for a big ass whale client, we can do the campaign around that to just breeze through all the steps, condensed to like a week or two, so that you understand everything that goes into the process. You can send your first emails, maybe get some engaged leads, but you understand how it all works. And then we circle back. I think that'll be fun. But I digress. All I wanted to say is if you want to join, I'd be happy to have you in there. You can get on the wait list right now to get in when we open the doors. The link for the wait list is dyf.link/200KF. And I'm planning to open that hopefully in October. So hopefully in the next couple weeks. We sold out the last 2. So if you want to make sure you get on this one, don't wait until the next one. You should probably get on the wait list. Feels so embarrassing saying these things when Virginie and I are just talking about the technique, but it's true. So thanks for being here. Great to have you, and reach out if you have any questions or anything. See you in the next one.